and welcome back to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we love to talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name's Don. I'm a big, chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood, and today I am a protested up protest boy. That's right. Yesterday, we saw protests sweeping across the United States, and I am energized and feeling good and powerful. And I'm back to myself. So welcome.
Hello, my name is Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser, and I am enjoying my orchid. I got an orchid for my birthday, among many other wonderful things, and I am just sort of basking in the glory of my orchid.
Fancy.
So not a euphemism. We're talking an actual flower.
Yes, I am enjoying my flower, Don.
Oh boy.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and today I'm a streusel top pumpkin bread boy. I made some pumpkin bread yesterday with a streusel topping.
That's always the best.
And it was just a wonderful, delicious treat with my coffee this morning.
Nice. Hi, my name is Michael Willer. I'm a chubby chaser, and I am an excited weekend boy. I thought I was not going to get a weekend this weekend. I thought I was going to be working.
Oh, no.
And it transpired that the thing that I was supposed to be working on never occurred. So here I am.
Yeah.
Very happy to have some time off.
Celebration ?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody.
We want to say thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Your support is one of the things that really helps us stay on the air. Thank you to Big Fig and Bearskin for supporting the podcast. And a quick reminder that you can save 15% off at Bearskin using the discount code BigFatGayPod. Now would be the perfect time to invest for some hijinks in July in Las Vegas. If you want to join us in Vegas for Bigger Vegas at July 4th weekend, you can see us there. And that 15% off at Bearskin is a great way to get ready for it.
Yeah.
So a quick heads up, a little bit of housekeeping. There will be no episode on April 16th. We have life conflicts that are just
Too many conflicts.
Yeah.
too many things overwhelming us. So unfortunately, no scheduled show that week. And also want to give a heads up that on April 30th, we're going to be doing a special episode on the 2007 Nikki Blonsky star vehicle of Hairspray.
Yeah.
One of the classic musical that showcased fat celebration in a way that very few other things did in that time period. A fat celebration classic. We're going to be doing that on April 30th, so try and see the movie by then, so you can join in on the fun.
Yes, and as of today, April 9th,
Ba-ba-da-da.
our Discord is live.
Ooh.
So I don't know what it's going to be like for future Trevor, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too.
There will be links on our website, on our social media, maybe in the newsletter.
Yeah, I was just going to say the newsletter is going to be coming out in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to be on the newsletter mailing list, go over to our website, bigfatgaypod.com, or just shoot us an email and say, hey, I want to be on the mailing list.
Yeah, there's a handy little pop-up that comes up. It's super easy to find. Yeah, I think that's our massive housekeeping out of the way.
Should we do a show now?
Yeah, let's do that show that we were here to do.
Well, in pop culture, we have something coming out of, that's right, everyone's favorite fat phobic country, England, where The Guardian...
We're going to have, somebody's going to pull out a hit on us from England just because we keep slamming them.
Oh, please. ICE will never let them in the country.
I will say that I feel like the fat news from England is extremes, where it is either especially terrible, or in this case, I feel like very good and
This was pretty good. This was pretty good. This is from The Guardian, and the title of the Guardian article is Plot Twist, I'm Still a Fat Person. Subtitle, Meet the People Who Are Proving You Can Be Fit at Any Size. And it is really a good article. So it starts off with highlighting a British woman. This is Becky Scott, who basically has started her own fitness classes, and she's fat, and it's for other fat people in her class called Misfits workout sessions.
Misfits.
Yeah. And she says, I know people in much smaller bodies who wouldn't feel as comfortable standing in front of the room as doing what I do, but I've always enjoyed playing the role. And she's this workout instructor. She's danced since she was a kid. And what I really love about the article is that they go on and she's like, this is not the only one. She is not some anomaly doing aerobics in the wilderness, because they also feature one of the podcast favorites. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Scott T.
Scottee. Yeah. I'm going to say Scotty because that's what it looks like to me.
All right. Anyway, but just really stuff featuring so many of these people bringing fitness for fat people, bring movement.
In different styles of it, different flavors of it.
Yeah.
It was great.
The cool thing is they get to share their own various like stories and journeys, and not in substantial like vignettes. Then so there's a whole bunch of different stories. The Scotty one to me was particularly interesting because he kind of sets it up where like a few years ago, like he had this sort of big crash out and he was like really struggling. He was diagnosed autistic and kind of had to like pick himself up from this sort of major like falling apart in his life, and found yoga as a way to kind of move through that. And then eventually started leading his own classes.
And then running.
Yeah. And running. And like, by the way, running for far, far longer and farther than I have ever been able to do.
Yeah. He says like 17 kilometers, but he says it like, well, that's pretty good for a fat person. Like it's good for anybody.
I don't know how many it is in miles, but I have never been able to run more than a mile at my fittest without taking a break. At my fittest. Anyway, he also has a podcast, which sounds really interesting. It's called Self-Help. But yeah, he looks super cool. The other people also have their own stories. There is a section of the article, which I think is what Dan is sort of hinting at the top after the first sort of the interview about Becky. And they kind of go into like qualifying a lot of stuff as far as like we talked to these scientists and doctors about what it actually means. When you say fat but fit.
But wait, because you wouldn't want to take fat people's word for it, Michael. I mean, how do they know anything about being fat?
Yeah, it could be worse. I will say it like it could be worse.
It could be much worse. And I mean, basically they look at someone who did a study about fatness and fitness. He comes at it from the kinesiology side because he studies exercise. He's like, well, you're never going to exercise your way to health. You really have to lose weight. But exercise can be amazing. And then they debunk the BMI thing. And then they talk to a psychologist talking. And this is what I love. The interviewer clearly said, well, what do you think of fit but fat? And the psychologist kind of has to push back at it and say like, well, I wouldn't say it that way. It's fit and fat.
Right. And because and she puts it really succinctly, which is like the but implies a lot about the word fat.
Yes.
We're bringing a lot of baggage to it.
Absolutely. It's the equivalent of fat but attractive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going off the assumption that you could not possibly be attractive as fat, but somehow you are.
Only to perverts like us.
And so it's nice to see that kind of pushback in an article like this. It is substantial.
Yeah.
This is not some quick little 4-paragraph thing. Like this is a cover story. There's this picture of all of them that is sort of the spread on the cover of The Guardian for this. I think it's the Saturday edition.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's a really, really cool article.
I loved checking out all of the different kind of workout businesses, spaces from the different creators. Like Dan talked about Misfits. Scotty's yoga and running studio, Wonky, Body Image Fitness. I love the vibes, just the designs of the website. So Body Image Fitness is run by Kim Stacy, and they interviewed both her and her husband, who was an Army veteran who had a back injury and then needed to use a wheelchair and kind of got into fitness through all of these adaptive sports and activities. He talks about the fat phobia within Army culture.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah, it's a fascinating take.
And how he had to relearn what fitness could be given your physical limitations because of the injury.
Yeah.
And I just love that, well, because he only knew fitness is one thing, can't do that, therefore can't be fit.
Yeah.
One of the things that I kind of got from the article, especially from some of the individual interviews, was the concept that these classes were for people who enjoyed doing the activity and was not pursuing it for weight loss.
Right. Yeah.
And
Bingo.
when I was really pursuing going to the gym for a long time, I'll be honest, the thing I enjoyed doing was weightlifting, right? Like I really enjoyed that part of it. I hated the cardio. I hated it with a passion, but I was taught that's what you needed. I had to just do cardio all the time. And weightlifting was encouraged as an additional thing on the side, but it was kind of discouraged because you're bulking up more and you want to be losing weight.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be just bulking up all the time.
I mean, aren't you big enough?
And so the fact that they were showing some of these people as weightlifters and just celebrating the fact that they were doing that for the joy of it, when that's not something that's really pushed as a weight loss exercise. And I've never seen that featured in an article about fat athletic influencers before.
It is really cool because you get to see them kind of talking about like how much they can lift. Of course, it's incomprehensible. Everything's in kilograms. So good luck trying to figure that out. But it is very, very cool.
Kilahoozies.
But check it out. It's a good article with a good cross-section of different perspectives on different ways into the world of exercise for fat folks. in the language of how to enjoy it rather than how to get through it.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to enjoy it. I love that Scotty says.
And you don't have to enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah, like Scotty says, like, hey, if yoga ain't your vibe, then that's fine.
Doesn't have to be.
Yep.
Thank you, The Guardian. Thank you, Sarah Phillips, for putting this together at The Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
And for all these awesome fat people kind of pulling a Thanos and saying, I'll do it myself.
Oh my God, there's 6 of them. It's the Infinity. It's the Infinity Stones.
Even I get that.
No one can escape the Avengers.
But on your left, here comes
Backwatch 2025.
In my head, I keep expecting you to say 24. I'm still...
Yeah, my brain's still going there.
Yeah, it's lost.
My brain's been so traumatized by 2025, it just doesn't want to come here. It's going back.
They're reasonable.
Well, and Don, speaking of trauma, we have a great video. I guess technically it's like a TikTok, but it's cross-posted because social media, baby. A listener sent us to this, and Michael sent it to me, but I already had. This was the first thing I picked for this week's episode.
I love when that happens, when we're just like on the same page.
And I love that just the algorithm is pure and it's balanced and it's not terrible. And what I'm talking about is a video from Jay Salazar, who is a content creator, and he does a lot of like comedy videos talking about teaching and Haze, health at every size, and ADHD.
He does like ADHD stuff. He does dog videos. He's kind of just got all of the good things.
And he has a video talking about kind of weight stigma in medical spaces and just kind of like bracing for that. And I think we should just like cue it.
I was so used to doctors telling me, you have to lose weight, you have to lose weight for almost 30 years, regardless of why I was there, whether it was a checkup, whether it was my ankle, whether it was a sinus infection, you have to lose weight. I was used to that. So much so that when I went to a back specialist, because I had really, really bad back problems to the point where I couldn't stand, couldn't walk, couldn't lay down, couldn't drive, couldn't do anything. I went to a back specialist, and the first thing that I said, without even speaking to the doctor, I said, Doc, I know I have to lose weight. I know, because that's what I've been trained to think. That's how I've been conditioned to think. They were going to say wait indefinitely because they always have, right? And the back specialist, the back surgeon was like, hey, I didn't mention your weight at all. How would I even know that? We have to get you tested. We have to get an MRI, get an x-ray, and do all these things. And suddenly, for the first time ever, it was a doctor who was like, I'm trying to help you. She even said, I don't even want to recommend surgery because who knows, maybe physical therapy would help. Maybe you can feel better and not lose a pound. Maybe you will lose all this weight and you'll still feel pain. So why am I going to tell you to lose weight if you might not feel better after losing weight? I'm not going to do that. So guess what the doctor did? She said, I'm not going to cut. I'm going to recommend you to physical therapy. I did physical therapy for about 3 months, maybe 2 to 4 months, I don't know. But I was virtually pain-free without losing a single pound. Doctors like that exist. I didn't know. And in 2025, I hope there's more of them.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
This is incredible.
I think it's not irrelevant that it was a female surgeon.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I agree with that completely.
A lot of the best doctors that, because my partner Michael always, we've moved a couple times and he's always had to like find new doctors and new specialists and all that stuff. And I think it's not quite bar none, but the percentage is like something like
it's better.
80% of the good ones are female.
I just know that feeling that he talks about in that video. The first time you find a medical professional where you actually feel them addressing the issue. I was told to lose weight when I went into a doctor's office in college for strep throat.
Of course.
For strep throat.
Of course.
I was told to lose weight by an optometrist who said I wouldn't need glasses if I lost weight.
And in case you think it was incidental, he was like, wow, well, maybe it's your weight.
Oh my God.
Like he thought it was causative.
Like the big thing about my glasses is like, it's a like an eye muscle thing. Like it's something I've had my entire life. Like I have prism lenses, Prism gang, like, and it was just such a like, well, of course. And like, I have a referral for a nutritionist and it's like, are you like, this is not, it's so frustrating. And
yeah,
I recently had a good experience with a doctor after I had a referral for a new colorectal specialist after having like 2 just really bad, like not horrible, but like, oh, well, you're fat and I can't help you. Like, I don't know I can't do anything.
God.
And I was bracing for, some surprise fat phobia. And it was so weird just having like a doctor be nice and listen and not like just be like, oh, like address all of my issues that, like, and me bringing up like, oh, well, like, I was referred to you because the other doctor said the table wouldn't hold me. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. And addressing stuff about like, oh, well, I know because of my weight, it'll be hard for anesthesia and stuff. He's like, no, like it's then, we can do anesthesia. We can not do anesthesia. We can decide on the day, like whatever you want to do. It was just so weird being like treated like a human being by a doctor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I recently went to a new doctor because my old one left the practice. And so I'm with this new doctor at the same practice. And we did not see eye to eye because I often refuse to be weighed as part of my entrance exam to the doctor. And mostly as a form of protest, and also just because, when fat people refuse to get weighed, it's like, well, you're a fat person. But so I think when straight size people refuse to get weighed, it has more impact for them. And it's amazing the pushback I got and kept getting. And when I finally got into the room with the doctor, he's like, okay, so what's your weight? I'm like, why do you need that? Like I just told your nurse twice, no. And it was this whole thing of like, well, no, we have to have it. It's one of your vital signs. I'm like, really? It's one of my vital signs. I'm like, I am not going to see you again. You are not going to be my physician.
Wow. Having been to a number of doctors recently, I have definitely had to do the whole like, okay, step on the scale thing. And I have definitely considered like, okay, maybe I should make a thing of this. And I think I'm already stressed enough usually walking in that I'm just like, I'm sort of avoiding the conflict of it. But part of me is like, that's a good point. It's a lot easier for me to do that and get the ball rolling for that particular practice. Yeah.
And I would submit that it is, I don't know, maybe this is a me thing, but I think it is less stress for me to trigger the conflict and go through it than to spend the entire visit worrying about the conflict and the stress of suppressing it, of me repressing it. Like I'd rather just have it. Like, can we talk about this?
Yeah, I guess so. I also find it interesting because since the summertime, my weight has not changed at all, but my physique has changed. And I've put on a not insubstantial amount of muscle, still got plenty of fat, but there's been kind of a trade there.
Yeah.
And the way I'm regarded in terms of my weight, when it comes up, which is not that often, is identical because they have no concept of why that number is what it is, which to me is just like the quintessence. It's like just like proves exactly what Dan's saying. It's like, it's a vital sign. Really, you have no idea what that number means.
Yeah,
you truly have no idea.
Yeah, your blood pressure and your body weight are both vital signs. Come on. And then he tried to bring BMI into it. And I've said, you're not really still using BMI, are you? I tried to shake him. He's like, well, yeah, there are problems with it, but
God.
Yeah, I've literally told the doctor I'm not an 18th century Scotsman. This is not something that applies to me. Yeah. And I got a blank stare for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctors who are nice, I guess. Just like it's so weird, but it makes such a difference in the moment, especially because like very frequently you are dealing with an issue that is troubling and you're just stressed out about whatever issue, and just to have like kindness and patience and a listening is a wonderful thing.
So thanks to Jay Salazar for also sharing that story. It requires him to be out as a fat person, which we all know is actually a very conscious choice, and we really appreciate it. He has some other cool videos. Some of them are just funny. The most recent one at the moment is him mocking the wellness industry, which I
love that one.
Always here for. But with that said, let's transition into our main subject, which is going to be kind of a cozy one, I think. I hope. I guess we'll find out. We're doing story time part, however many we've done. I don't remember. And today's topic is going to be focused around garments. And I think maybe particularly garments of clothing that we have had some kind of baggage with. So I can go first. I have a few, and I think the first one I want to talk about is jock straps. I'm
with you here so much. I think I know what you're going to say, and I'm with you.
It's so I find it fascinating because I grew up as an athlete, so you would think I would fit the bill for somebody who just like, wears it and like flaunts blah, 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 and fulfills that fantasy for all the people who are lusting after the
Dude, don't you
the
just
sweaty,
live in your jockstrap?
Yeah, the sweaty athlete. I have never in my life worn a jockstrap when it wasn't specifically requested for a sexual encounter. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the cognitive dissonance for me between you see me as this fantasy, and so I must wear this garment to fulfill that fantasy because I guess it's worn in TV and movies or porn or something. I don't know.
It's a masculinity
in real life.
It's like male lingerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it comes from something. It's not like lingerie is specifically to be sexy underwear.
Right.
Whereas this is meant in theory to be an athletic garment. That's why like people who are not into the athlete fantasy are not into seeing you wear a jockstrap. I can say that with pretty firm confidence. So there is an element of it that it's like, oh, you played soccer? Oh, do you wear your jockstrap?
Wear your jockstrap, dude.
Yeah. And again, no problem with it. I just find it hilarious that I truly have no connection to that garment whatsoever. I don't find it sexy to wear, but I don't find it unsexy either. It's kind of just a neutral. It's like, well, if you like it, I'll wear it for you. Great. I just find it sort of strange, I guess.
So I actually have had a couple times where I've been like, I'm going to wear a jockstrap. This was a while ago. And it is awful. And it is just like,
it's so uncomfortable.
The chafing of kind of where the crotch piece, like, I guess it's kind of like your taint.
Yeah.
It's like where the straps meet the crotch piece, and it pinches and it chafes. And then like, I've never had my butt get so sweaty in such a very particular way.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Maybe it's the size of my ass. I don't know, but like those straps wander all over the place too. Like they don't stay in place.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference also between like jock straps as lingerie, and there's a certain line for that, and then there's like jock strap that you buy at like
like the Cotton
Dick's hardware store of all places. But no, what I want to say is the other side of that, where I've had fat guys in the bedroom, and they're very proud of their jock strap, and they're like, do you want to see me in my jock strap? I'm like, no, I'd like to see you out of your jockstrap. The jockstrap is just a chastity belt for me.
I fully agree. And look, again, nothing. If you are into it, great. Go with God. Have fun. Not trying to shame your interests or your kinks or whatever. And I will wear one for you if you are interested in that. That is fine.
Like daily wear.
Yeah, like as daily wear, as like functional. Like no, it is terrible. It is terrible. I don't know why anyone wears them.
Don, you're trying to get in here.
Okay, so I mentioned the last time we were in Vegas that I bought a package of jock straps as my souvenir, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of the first time I've had a bunch of jock straps that fit well. So I tried them out, right? I wasn't prepared for the variety of reactions that I'd receive from the Dan and Michael dismissive, like, well, I don't know why. Yeah, okay, it's still on. Why is it still on? Right? to a couple of guys who I will be straight up. I'll admit, I think they failed their sand check because, let's just say they really appreciated it, and a lot of brain cells just went out the window when they saw it, and that was really rewarding and pleasant. But here's something that, as a man who doesn't think about track straps, wasn't prepared for. I think there may be certain connotations to the jock strap as to what people think you're expecting when you put it on that I wasn't ready for.
Really?
Apparently, they think because they have easy access to your butt that you have expectations of butt access. And I was not expecting that. So, just be aware,
is that part
it's like you took away the doggy door and there's just a big hole in that door.
I assumed it was sort of a toppy or bottom thing. Like I didn't see it as being specifically a bottom connotation.
No, it's both.
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say a couple people take that easy access for granted. And
that was the people you were with were making some assumptions. I don't think you're wrong there.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was going to talk about is also jockstrap related. I'm not so much specifically talking about jockstraps as I want to talk about sexy underwear, right? Male lingerie. And okay, so I am not an expert. I'm not going to put myself forward as an expert. I'm going to tell you what my good experience has been, which is to find underwear that makes you feel kind of awesome.
Oh,
right?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And that means that's going to have to match your personality. And that also means that your sexy underwear, the underwear that makes you feel awesome, may not be, for everyone else's viewing pleasure. but your reaction to your own underwear will be. So why am I saying that? I am a geek, right? And I had an experience. Well, my favorite underwears growing up was the Underoos, right? I
Oh my
loved
God.
Underoos.
Like Batman, Robin, and
Batman,
Superman?
Robin. I had the Superman one. Loved them, right? And I'll be honest, like, I've never felt quite as kind of awesome as like when I wore my Underoos when I was a kid. Like, I felt
fucking
powerful.
love that, Don. That is great.
So then I realized I have a Superman t-shirt and I've got a red pair of underwear, right? And I put that on for just a day, just for me. No one else knew about it. I felt hot all day long. I felt awesome all day long.
I love that. And if I have a cape and maybe we get a winch and then off we go.
And I'm telling you, like, I haven't worn my adult Underoos in a sexual encounter yet, but like, I'm kind of looking forward to it because I feel good in that.
There is some little geeky, nerdy, tiny chaser who loves D&D who would be like, he would just explode. He would love it.
Absolutely.
This seems like for the amount of like geek stuff that DXL and King Size produce, there's money in these Underoos.
Yeah.
It just seems like geeky underwear in sizes, 3XL to 8XL or 10XL or 12XL or whatever. Like, it seems so obvious, and I don't know why.
I know why. Because
I know why.
it's all about masculinity. It's why we had 10 years of Big Dog t-shirts.
Hold on, sorry, Trevor just lost it.
That, like, I know why. Like, that was my mom. Just like, or I think I've talked about this on the podcast where I had a nightmare that like my mom's voice was my voice, and I was just like, I'm going around doing saying all of these things she always says, and that was very much
I know why.
I know why.
Trevor's nightmares are the most creative nightmares I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad they're not mine.
No, that's why I give all my nightmares to him. They're better done. Have higher production values.
Much better.
No, but yes, there's no big and tall Underoos because of fat phobia.
Yeah, that's it.
So I have a complicated relationship to tank tops, which I may have talked about before, but I think it bears repeating just because we're coming up on Bigger Vegas again. And I wore my first ever, the first tank top I wore willingly was at Bigger Bash. I think I've told the story before where I was working for Here TV like 10, 11 years ago. And I volunteered to work their booth at West Hollywood Pride. And when I showed up, I was overdressed, but I was dressed in my way. And they said, okay, great. Here's a branded tank top. Change out of what you got and put this on. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You didn't hire me as a go-go dancer. I work for you and I'm volunteering to be at your booth. I don't even know why I'm doing that.
And you're the editor.
And I'm I was an editor. There was so many reasons not to expect that walking in. I remember feeling really shitty about it. So I must have put it on and then I reported the guy to HR later and it turned into this whole thing.
Ooh.
I didn't want to wear it anyway, but then ever since then I have had a really sort of tumultuous relationship with tank tops.
Did that start the antipathy towards, you make it sound like you'd never worn a tank top before.
I hadn't.
Okay. Well, that's kind of the thing, given where you're from.
Yeah. When I put it on, I was like, oh my God, this feels so revealing.
Yeah.
I had never really thought about it before because I hadn't worn one before. And then once I had it on, I was like, oh, I hate this so much. I feel like I'm on display and I don't want to be. Like, if I want to be, fine, but I don't want to be. Mm-hmm. And so that's where all that came from. Anyway, so flash forward to Bigger Bash last summer. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try this out on my own terms, at a Chub Chaser event where I'm trying to look sexy. And it still felt incredibly revealing, but it was also kind of exciting. It was sort of fun.
Oh, good.
And I really enjoyed it. And so I'm going into Bigger Vegas kind of looking forward to it. And I think a part of it is I've embraced workouts and weightlifting in a way that I never have before. So there's sort of an element of showing off that I've never embraced. That's just never been a thing for me until now.
Good.
Well, Trevor, Dan, what about you two?
I think Trevor and I can probably gang on this because I know Trevor's had this problem. I'm sure Don has had this problem. Michael, I don't know if you've had this problem of trying to get a garment, trying to replace a simple, stupid garment like, underwear that you have bought in the past, but is no longer on offer.
Oh,
There
I
is
hate that.
no way
Yeah.
to get this. They stopped making it. It would be like if you tried to replace your worn dish towel, but like, oh, we don't make dish towels anymore. But here, have this acrylic sheet. You know?
It's why I have so many copies of
I
the
am
same T-shirt.
Oh my God. I am so angry that every time I try to get just basic underwear and I think I know what I'm getting, wrong.
Mhm.
I have sent back so much stuff to Hanes and Fruit of the Loom. Like, no, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want your newfangled version. I didn't want the undershirt comes down to my knees version, because apparently having really super long undershirts is in right now.
Ugh.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Everything I buy that will fit me in the chest comes down halfway down my leg.
Oh, no bueno.
I mean, I find that just with like, I never have the problem of like, oh, this shirt is too long. I always find that like, oh, it fits everywhere except it's like 5 inches too short.
Yeah.
And then to get something long enough, everything else is too long.
But my point is, but you used to have a place or a thing you could buy that didn't do that. That's why you bought it. And you
Yeah.
wanted to buy.
Yeah. Nobody sticks around long enough.
Or just in the case of like, I feel like I'm wearing it right now, but I can't get to the band.
Well, get right up there, baby.
There's some underwear that I get from like, DXL that I get the different, like the latest model, because they just keep reinventing. Like the perfect one was like, it was like, oh, 3D stretch. It stretches in all directions. And it was like a nice material. It was a nice cut. And then they stopped making it. And I had to wait, 2 cycles of reinventing the same kind of underwear to find one that was okay. And now I have like 16 pairs of it because I'm like, I'm just going to keep buying a ton of it at a time until they stop making it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wear these until they're just in tatters.
I have bought pairs of underwear from DXL, right, that I bring home and it fits great. I'm so excited.
Mhm.
And the next time I go back, which sometimes can be a year or two later, and I'll like, oh, this was the brand I bought. I liked this. I will buy a bunch. I bring it back home. And for some reason, they've decided that the ass coverage needed to be reduced by 30%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now it
Shrinkflation.
no longer covers my entire butt. Like, thanks, guys.
I think we would be remiss in not mentioning our partner Bearskin.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe we should try out some Bearskin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
I didn't. So I have, I don't know, which is my current battle, which seems to almost be one. Shoes. So I have my purple shoes that were custom from Community Made LA, which they do custom shoes and they do a lot of like bespoke stuff. And I am a very specialty customer because I just require a lot of care because they made, a custom last of my foot, which is, what they build the shoe on.
Mm-hmm.
And my feet are so big that it is like just a challenge to build the shoe and have it look like a shoe. And actually, at the same time as they're doing my latest pair, they have, I think it's a woman who has basically the opposite foot from me, where like it's very, like her feet are very super narrow.
Oh.
So like to the point to where she needs custom shoes because they're so long and narrow. So they're doing these 2 shoes at the same time and like going through the same struggles, but on opposite end of the spectrum.
Interesting.
And it's just so interesting to like see that, like, we're at a point now where it's like, okay, I'm almost at my final pair, but like see them come in with a shoe and I like I can see it in their hands. I'm like, that's not going to work. And they're so proud. And then they put it on and they're like, oh, this is like the time I'm talking about, it was like way too big.
Oh.
And I had never had that experience of like, this is like just too big in every dimension.
Wow.
And like, I don't know how it's so wrong when you have the last, and they ended up like starting from scratch.
We made them redo the last.
Oh.
Because the last was done by a different cobbler.
And they had adjusted it so much.
If anybody's looking for, usually custom shoes run thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. They're usually dress shoes. Community Made LA does sneakers and custom sneakers, either because you want a unique design or because you have a difficult to fit foot. So I would definitely recommend them to anybody who's looking to for very reasonably, like only a few hundred custom shoes.
Nice.
Yeah. I have one last one, which I think this would be fun to talk about, kind of the bookend of sexy wear. I have some very tight shorts that I wear, and I sort of got them. I got them for the first Bigger Vegas, which was in 2022.
I remember those. I love them.
Yeah, I'm wearing them right now. And I didn't necessarily intend them to be like super, super tight shorts, but they showed up. They were like suitably small, like kind of like sexy small. Like if you wore them with a tight shirt, it would look great. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just wear it, and I wasn't really thinking that much about it. And I don't really see, like, I can't see myself walking around in them. Mm-hmm. Like I started getting some comments and then I saw a few pictures of myself and I was like, whoa, those are revealing. And
everyone found out you're Jewish.
Yeah, exactly. No, like that, to that degree. And I was kind of like, I'm fine with that. And
good boy.
Weirdly was fine with that before I was fine with wearing tank tops.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that
interesting?
Because this goes back to I think early days of the podcast. We've said it 100 times since then. There are certain parts of your body that you will accept people, objectifying, and there are others that you will not. And that's just you.
Yeah. Ass, yes, chest, no.
Yeah, exactly. Well, ass and the other side.
Front ass.
The front.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like it's normal for us to feel like there's a portion of ourselves that we present to the world, right? We think that's what we lead with, right? So when people comment on that, it's less surprising or off-putting than when they comment on the thing you think you've got hidden.
Yeah.
So the other half of this is a discovery that happened, I don't know, like 3 years ago. I bought a pair of like athletic pants, basically like track pants, but they're for soccer. And I was wearing them because I was playing soccer in the cold. And I just kept them. They kind of shrank in the wash and I put on some weight. And then last summer, I was standing on stage during like tech rehearsal at a concert. I worked for a chorus, so it's, doing rehearsal. I was standing on stage to give the camera operators somebody to kind of set the exposure and the focus to. And while I was there, a friend of mine at the chorus snapped a picture of me. And I was just standing there like on my phone, kind of waiting, wearing those pants. And then he like texted me the picture and there's a very, very outlined bulge on the front. And I was like, holy crap, is that what I look like?
Only from the front.
Only from the front.
Sweatpants season.
So it was really fascinating to kind of find, like, you don't see yourself from other people's point of view. And I think there are ways to come across that are really appealing to other people that you would never know about unless somebody told you, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think the mind fuck, though, is when you come across as appealing for that thing you're wearing or whatever, but you don't want to be admired or liked for that thing.
Yeah.
And it goes right back to the heart of the chub chaser dynamic, which is, I love how fat you are. Well, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Trevor, do we have a tip this week?
We do. Join our new Discord. Links on our website, on our socials. I'll also share. Discord has a little video about like, what is Discord and how do I join? So I'll share that as well. And I'll show you how to figure it out.
And I like, just as a little teaser, Trevor set up all of the different sort of channels that you can sort of talk on and the different subjects that would, be included. We've got a place to share memes, pets and animals. There's some self-care, different subjects and sections like movement, exercise, selfies. If you want to, like, if you're feeling good today and you want to, post a little selfie, there's tabletop games, video games, like all kinds of different fun subjects to start building some big fat gay pod community. It, like, for us, it's not live, but I keep forgetting, like, today, as of today that this episode comes out. Yes, live.
I had that realization yesterday when I was laying on the couch, staring off into space.
Things are happening. Okay, Don, take us into Bitworld.
So I had a theory that this week, when we talk about garments in this manner, the subject of underwear might well come up, and sexy underwear.
How right you were.
So one of the things that we don't have a lot of the good words for male lingerie. So I figured this week each of us could come in and bring a quick pitch for a new word to describe male lingerie. So think of it in the spirit of some of the famous ones we've heard in the past, like banana hammock is a very popular one. Budgie smuggler. That's my personal favorite. I love the budgie smuggler.
Phenomenal. Also the title of a past episode.
I'm curious, Dan, like what new name have you come up with for male lingerie?
Well, it's not so much the name. It's actually a whole self-care routine,
Ooh,
Don.
okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so having many Super Chub friends, one of the things that many Super Chubs face is containment of the fat pad. Because it tends to wobble around. And I have a friend who is incredibly well endowed with his fat pad. And he struggles with like how to contain it. He actually hit upon this interesting solution while taking a walk through the sexy underwear aisle. And he has found that a thong, of all things, is the perfect garment because it sort of eliminates chafing. He loves it. I thought that this is something that should have a name. And so I call it the Fupakini.
That's perfect. Why didn't you go last, Dan? We can't start with that.
Well, you can move it around in
That's
the
a hard one to top on.
I love it.
Trevor, what new name have you brought?
I mean, mine is kind of in the similar camp. I was thinking about like fat pads and just the kind of phenomenon of like the heat that can like come off of it and stuff. And I was just thinking of a pad proofer, like, you know, how you proof dough, how it's like a certain temperature. It's that like a little bit warmer than room temperature.
I don't know if I want something named for a yeast reaction that close to my jaw.
Exactly.
No, but it's kind of the mound, the rising.
All right, Michael, I'm curious where you take us next.
I kind of went with the most literal take on the assignment, specifically the examples of Banana Hammock and Budgie Smuggler. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I feel it's very important. This is a garment term that can be applied if someone is brave enough to say that sequence of words in front of you. They deserve to see your Sprungleberries. A Sprungleberry safety net.
Oh, I love that it's sort of a password, like to gain entry.
Yeah, it is. And if you're able to be that kind of goofy in front of someone and they still find you sexy, I think that's a huge green flag.
That's my whole underoos argument. Like, if you can see me in my underoos and be as turned on by me as I feel in that moment, we are made for each other.
I gotta say,
100%.
I would be so turned on by a 400-pound guy who had Superman.
Come on.
That would be amazing.
All right, Don, what do you got?
So I was thinking very generically. I'm in the same boat as you, Michael. I was going with the literal interpretation of it. And so first I was thinking like it's a thing you're putting in a place, right? A container. So so the thing. So I was thinking weaponry at first. So
God,
like something you put a weapon in. So I was thinking pistol.
I was thinking
pistol packet, right? Like macho, your pistol packet or your pistol package.
That's very.
But I'll be honest, it morphed a little bit. I went a little bit more literal, and so it's like. It's not a pistol. It's your dick. What's a good word for dick? It's your Peter, right? It's your Peter.
Okay.
And what are you doing with it? You're placing it in a place. You're ensconcing it. You are parking it. So it is your Peter Parker.
Oh my God. We've gone full circle with spider underoos.
Yep. It's your Peter Parker. That is what I'm going with as the new sexy underwear.
The nerdiest possible.
Hey, this is from the guy who says, like, you love me in my underoos or don't love me at all. So come on.
Yeah, I love that you found a way to make a term an underoo.
I have a question. Michael's thing made me think, when you get to the point in a relationship where you are willing to wear your total garbage underwear with someone, and I'm thinking of kind of like, I guess, the male equivalent of granny panties, where it's like there's nothing sexy about them.
Oh, I have so many of those.
Does anyone have a term for that?
How about they have granny panties? How about grampy nappies?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, no. That's an entirely different thing, Don.
All right, dear listener. Do you have a term for grampy nappies that we should use? Trevor, where should they tell us about that?
Well, we're on Instagram and Blue Sky as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Leave us 5 stars there. Leave us 5 stars or a review on your preferred platform. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. see the articles or the link to our Discord at bigfatgaypod.com, baby.
And you can sign up for Dan's mailing list.
Yes, and the mailing list. Well, maybe you use promo code BigFatGayPod to get 15% off your bearskin order, and you're going to put on your underwear, but there's something inside, and you're just shaking it, and Michael falls out on the floor.
Don't do that. Come on. I'm ending this now.
Watch out.
Rude.